event. And then also after, I would like you to reflect on how you were feeling during that conversation, what feelings came up for you, what emotions came up for you. And then after, also, what were you feeling after reflecting on it a little bit more? What thoughts and feelings were you having? And then in next session, we can definitely go over that and see where you are, how that made you feel. Does
Okay.
that sound like a plan?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, thank you again for coming in today. I think you're making really great progress so far. Just the fact that you're willing to do this and put yourself in a little bit of a vulnerable situation shows just, your strength and your willingness to work on yourself. So good job, and we'll see you next week.
All right.
Bye. Okay, so
Pause recording.
yeah, it's still recording, which is fine.
Oh, no, pause
You can,
recording.
oh, pause.
Yeah. Hey, Montana, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing all right. Doing pretty good. Yeah.
Good. Okay. Hey, good's better than bad, so I will take it. Um, I know that last week we did the intake and did the assessment, so we're still in the beginning stages of our time together. But one of the things that you mentioned was a goal that you had in mind. You had said something about, let's see, you're probably gonna remember it better than I did. Um, getting things done and the appropriate amount of time to spend time with your partner. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, I've just been having a hard time. Like, so I moved recently and I feel like I'm just like kind of scattered, but I have a lot of classes, classwork to do. I have these household chores, I'm getting organized, like, all these things. I just feel so like tired and overwhelmed, and I don't really want to get up and do all these things because my to-do list is so long. Like every day it just feels like just endless amount of tasks to do. But that's affecting, the amount of time I can spend with my partner because I'm putting off these tasks, and then
Right.
by the time he gets home, I still have to do the tasks because I put them off, and then we
Right.
don't really get to spend real time together. It's just me sitting doing my homework or doing these other things while he's like kind of like, what are you doing? Like, you want to go on a walk, you want to
Right.
play a board game together or something. And I'm like, well, I can't because, I didn't do the things I needed to do.
Right.
So,
Um, Now, when you say you have a bunch of things to do and your list is really long, um, on a scale of 1 to 10, are those things that are dire need, or are those things that can be spaced out and don't necessarily have to be done that day?
well, I think it's a mixture.
Okay.
Um, and I think, to be quite honest, I start at the bottom of the list because I feel like sometimes it helps me build confidence and momentum, but like sometimes there's so
Okay.
many things at the bottom list I don't even get to things at the top of the list.
Right.
Um, and like another like side note is like I feel like I am managing like household things, like random thing.
Mhm.
Like we have to like look up the PG&E, like the electric meter on the side of the house, get that number, and then put it in our online account to be able to pay the
Right.
bill. And it's just like little things like that. I have taken on responsibility because he's working full time and
Right.
commutes a lot. So
Yeah.
there's things like that where it's like it doesn't need to be today, but like that list always grows. So if I don't take care of some of those things today, then the
Right.
next day we'll have, you know, the previous day plus more of those little micro tasks.
Right.
And I don't want to forget them. I want to write them down, but it's just like a
Of
lot
course.
to look at. Like it feels very overwhelming.
Okay. So, when it comes to all of these tasks and the smallness and the largeness that they may be and the overwhelming that you may feel, I feel like a good approach that we could take is, throw in some positive psychology in there, and then like thinking in a way of like solution focused, but like
Mm,
brief, because I feel like these things are that you're explaining are things that you could do and you could get done. Now, you say that you get organized, and I know that you just moved, so it's a process, right? Which is awesome. Congrats on the move. I hope it was a good one. I know that moving can be stressful.
Yeah.
But the tiny things that you think about as far as like the meter and the household chores. Um, and I know that at some point, like as a person who's married, like sharing those things can be a task in itself. And then also when it comes to feeling a certain way about your partner's commuting, your partner's working, and then you're at home, so you kind of feel like that's your job at times. When it comes to that, like, would you say that your tasks at home, you feel obligated to that versus not because he has a full-time job and commutes?
Yeah,
So do you,
I think I mean, doing some reflecting just now, I feel like part of me just takes on a lot. Like I don't want to burden other people. And like this is a new thing for him because he was jobless for like 6 months and
okay,
jumping into like something like that takes up a lot of time. Like I guess I worry a lot that like I'm putting on too much stress onto the other person,
okay,
but it's not really substantiated by anything. Like I just assume that, I think. And so I take on a lot of things because I think it's just me feeling like I don't want to stress another person out. So I'd rather
of
stress
course.
myself out instead of the other person for some
Well,
reason.
that's not fair. You shouldn't have to do that.
I do.
Now, whenever he was home and he was still looking for work, like, what was it like then? Like, was it any different, or
It was so
how would you?
different. Yeah,
Okay,
like well, he would took care of all the house stuff actually,
okay,
like because I had a part-time job and I was doing the same amount of schoolwork and stuff. And he definitely was like wanting to do his fair share. So he did like all the chores and stuff. But technically my situation hasn't really changed that much,
okay,
but I'm taking on more now that I realize that. Like I have this more classwork to do and the same amount of time, but I'm taking on more duties as well. So maybe
right,
it's not
okay,
fair, completely fair.
okay. So, let's do something. So let's close our eyes. All right. I love this. So, all right. So you're asleep, you're getting your 8 hours, you're in REM sleep. And when you wake up, all of the things that you have a problem with are going to be fixed.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's going to be like you want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have adequate time. You're going to have the motivation to do all the things you want to do. You're going to have things organized in such a way that it seems and flows easily, as far as like from one test to the other. You're going to have that confidence already there. The momentum is going to just constantly build until you're done with your list and you didn't even realize it. And you still have time for you and your partner.
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like?
I think it looks like me communicating with my partner and asking for help, to be honest.
Okay.
I I mean, it looks like me getting adequate rest because I think what's happening is it's like a snowball effect, right? Like the days before are adding to my tiredness, now, like because it's
Right.
just me waking up, working through like my insomnia, everything, going to sleep, and then just working, working, working. Whereas like, so I'm not really getting time for myself. Like I'm not getting quality like rest, whether
Okay.
like sleeping or whatever. So I feel like a perfect day would look like me waking up, taking care of myself for a little bit, doing some tasks. But then when my partner gets home, like maybe us spending some time together doing some chores or doing like just working, like making it fun in some way, maybe like,
Right.
like, yeah, the dishes need to get done or like we need to make dinner, but like maybe we can turn it into like a, Hell's
A
Kitchen
game.
situation or
Yeah.
yeah, like a game, instead of it being like only on me and then him just kind of like sitting there and like de-stressing.
Right.
I don't get the de-stress time. Like that's not built into my day, and
Hmm.
not that he doesn't deserve it, but I think
Right.
we both deserve it in some
Yeah.
way or another,
Of course. So what you're saying is, I was thinking it, but I needed you to say it because I didn't want to put words in your mouth. But doing things together is a great way to get things off your list. Okay. And then the communication part of it. So when it comes to let's see. All right. So when we meet next week, okay, I want you communicate this compromise list of tasks that you feel like y'all could do jointly, even if it is just doing the dishes, like, or cook. So cooking, somebody's
Yeah.
always got to be the sous chef to the chef, right?
Yeah,
So
totally.
you can mix and he can chop, or however you want to spin it. But if you kind of take those things out of your list is not so long anymore.
Yeah,
And I'm sure it could feel definitely, more manageable, or at
I think
least not this big, maybe this big, you
yeah, because
know?
sometimes it's just the visual of like these are all things that I have to do. Like
Right.
it's like I'm just like I don't know if that's humanly possible right now. Like just
Right.
with the
So
energy levels, with the time, everything.
exactly. And you have a lot on your plate. So, and you talk with school and the house. It can be a lot. You just moved. You're
Yeah.
still unpacking. It's a lot. And so, like, baby steps. Kudos to you for getting to where you are now, and not like, and still having all your hair. Because sometimes, just in case you're wondering, stress does this to you.
I have grays instead.
Hey, I would take a gray hair instead of no hair. So there's that. But yeah. So, all right. When it comes to being overwhelmed, make your list more manageable. Like, block out your list and say,